Good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? Sweet. Thanks for coming on this Friday. Hopefully not everyone's too hungover from last night. My name is Daniel Kagan, and today I want to take you guys through a journey. Not just through a construction project, but through time, through technology, through a way we tell stories with building. Because what we build doesn't just affect how we work. It shapes how we build, how we live, and how we dream. Let's start with a quick show of hands. How many of you guys here are architects? What about engineers? Contractors? Developers? Did I miss anyone?
Educators.
Educators. That's good. It's all of the above. This is why this conversation matters. You see, each of us brings a different perspective to a project. But what we often forget is that we're all trying to build something together. So before we go further, I'd like to level the playing field. I'd like to talk about two words that you hear a lot of today: reality capture and VDC. If you're not using them already on your projects, you will be soon. And if you are, I'm pretty sure that you're still trying to figure out how to make it really work. Reality capture is how we freeze a job site in time. We use tools like scanners, 360 cameras, drones, to capture the data and bring it back to the office. It's how we can show exactly what's on the job site in that moment in time. VDC, or Virtual Design and Construction, is how we use 3D models to get teams aligned before anyone pours concrete. It's how we bring the model to life as a collaborative space, not just a drawing on the screen. It helps architects, owners, and contractors make decisions early and be proactive in how we build. I'd like to give you a quick snapshot of who I am and why I'm so passionate about this work. I've always been drawn to that space where the digital world meets the physical one. With a love for architecture and engineering, which I studied at Lawrence Technical University in Southfield, Michigan. I also picked up a couple math and computer science minors on the way because I was interested in how things work behind the scenes. Later, I joined Navis, where I got to see the job site from a different perspective, from the vendor side. That's where I realized how powerful this data can be in the hands of the people that actually do the work every day. Moving from Detroit to Dallas, I joined Rogers O'Brien Construction, where I'm leading the reality capture team so we can coordinate better from day one. I'm also working on my MBA at SMU because I believe that building better starts with leadership, communication, and strategy. In this past year alone, I've walked 34 miles scanning with the Navis VLX. That's like coming from here, from the convention center, walking to Harvard, and back again. Everything I'll show you today comes from that intersection, between the job site and the digital world, between the work we do today and the people it impacts tomorrow. I mentioned our work at Rogers O'Brien, or RO as we call it. We're proud to be known as Texas's premier builder. But what's even more impressive is how we've earned that reputation. We're not a massive corporation. We're a family-owned company that's been building since 1969. And in that time, we've grown to over $1 billion in revenue, not by spreading across the country, but by staying local, focused, and intentional. We work across 14 sectors, from education to healthcare to commercial. And what sets us apart is that 80% of our work comes from repeat clients. That should tell you everything you need to know about the RO ride. But we're not just builders, we're innovators. RO was recognized by Procore as the most innovative construction company. That's something we're proud of, not because we chase technology for the sake of it, but because we believe that has to start with the people who do the work, and we bring that mindset to every job, every day. Change is hard, but being left behind is harder. That's the foundation for everything that we're about to dive into. Since we're in Boston, I thought it was only right to bring up a name that lives in this city's DNA. Tom Brady. A man with insane instincts. He didn't need data. He was the data. The guy who could read a defense like a book, call an audible, and throw the perfect pass with seconds left. For years, this is how you won. Not just with talent, but with instincts. One player, one mind, one voice in the huddle. The game isn't just about instincts anymore. It's about information. Construction is evolving the same way. Take a look at today's sideline. You've got tablets in every coach's hand, video analysts up in the booth, and data streaming in real time. The quarterback isn't working alone anymore. There's a system behind him. A team of tools and people making real-time course corrections. We used to rely on one all-knowing superintendent, someone that could look at the pipe and say, that duck's about to get hit. But instincts don't scale, they don't get shared, and they sure don't show up on day one. Now we've got tools that give everyone the same clarity. Coordinators, contractors, clients. We can see what's happening, when and where, together. And yes, I was experiencing this morning. The tablet does get thrown across the field. Because let's be honest, technology doesn't always cooperate. But when it does, when it works, we're able to do really powerful things together. So today, we're going to move through a simple arc. Design, coordinate, build. We'll look at the impact of poor coordination, the power of working together, and how one Texas school is showing us a better way. And then I'll have a brave volunteer come up and step into the virtual reality space. Design, coordinate, build. Sounds linear, but it's not. It's a loop. Scan, analyze, share, align, validate, repeat. This is the framework that grounds everything we do. It's not just a sequence of steps, it's a loop, a living, breathing process where every phase feeds the next. We start with design, but it doesn't stop there. Design decisions inform coordination, coordination guides how we build, and how we build feeds back right back into design. On the left, you see what we call the capture cycle. This gives us the truth. Coordination guides how we build. And this loop gives us the truth. It shows us how the data is processed and what's actually on the job site. On the right, we have the coordination cycle. This is where design intent meets the field reality. It's how we validate decisions before they become problems. We align models, coordinate with trades, and give field teams confidence before anything goes vertical. This whole cycle is collaborative by nature. Everyone's looking at the same information in the same model in real time. And when it works, when it's firing all cylinders, design doesn't just drive construction. Construction actually helps drive better design. Let's be honest, construction is tough. 45% of construction professionals say they don't spend time on optimal activities. Why is that? They're chasing down paper drawings, lost RFIs, figuring out what has changed again. That's not just frustrating, it's expensive. Think about it. You walk the job site only to realize the drawings you're referencing are out of date. You spend 20 minutes chasing down a foreman, or worse, you're reworking something because it wasn't caught in coordination. According to a recent report shown in the diagram on the right, the average worker only spends about 30% of their day on productive tasks. The rest is eaten up by hunting down answers, waiting on decisions, or reacting to surprises. And with the labor shortage we're all facing, the need for about 500,000 people this year alone, we can't afford to waste time. This is why the way we capture information and share it matters. It's not about working faster, it's about working smarter. It's possible to win back an hour per person per day. Multiply that across your project team, and now you're not just hitting deadlines, you're buying back time to build it right. Because time saved isn't just profit, it's peace of mind, it's quality, and ultimately, it's how we build better. And then we look at rework. 70% of rework comes from design-related changes. We don't mess up in the field because we're sloppy. We mess up because what's in our heads doesn't match what's on the screen or what's in the dirt. That's drawings that don't match conditions, models that never made it to the field, coordination that fell short. Here's what that really means. It's not that people are building it wrong. We're not setting them up to build it right. And the cost is massive, not just in dollars, but in trust, in time, and in team morale. That feeling when a crew has to rip out something they just installed, it sticks with them. But the good news, this is fixable. Because if design is the source of rework, then design is also where the solution starts. That's why coordination, real coordination, early and often, isn't a luxury. It's like a lever. If you pull it right, you don't just save rework, you save relationships. And the result? 72% of projects finish behind schedule. Let's sit with that number for a second. 72% of projects don't finish on time. When we don't align early, we scramble later. When we can't see what's coming, we fall behind. Now think about what that means for the people on the ground. It's not just a delay, it's overtime, late equipment rentals, weather windows gone. It's that Friday we were planning to pour concrete, slipping into next month. And in construction, time is everything. When we fall behind, we don't just lose days. We lose sequencing, we lose momentum, we lose trust. Owners lose revenue, architects lose reputation, contractors lose control. And here's the thing, delays don't just start in the field. They start earlier. They start when we miss alignment during design or discover conflicts too late to fix them cleanly. Staying on schedule is no longer about how fast we can build, it's about how early we can see, how quickly we can adapt, and how well we can coordinate. Because staying on schedule doesn't just protect the build, it protects the entire team. Let's look at where the money goes. We start with the initial budget, then we hit a delay, then another one, and then another one. You blink, and now the final budget is double of what we started. This chart might look like just numbers, but it's pain. Every miscoordination, every surprise RFI, every day that we delay, it adds up. And everyone, from the owner to the subcontractor, pays for it. So how did we get here? How is it possible, with all these tools at our disposal, we still have so many projects over budget, behind schedule, and burdened by rework? What we have is what I call a coordination crisis. And it starts with our workflows. For too long, construction has followed the linear process. One team hands it off to the next. Architect to engineer, engineer to contractor, contractor to field. Each design change is like a wrench thrown into moving gears. It disrupts the entire system. Design is getting more complex. We're not just drawing rectangles anymore. We're solving for aesthetics, performance, and sustainability all at once. Messaging is all over the place. Emails, RFIs, markup sets, outdated drawings. It's no wonder that messages get garbled along the way. We need tech. We need change management. We need to stop surviving and start collaborating. So here's the key takeaway. It's not just about using flashy tech. It's about using it to create proactive workflows that adapt as fast as our projects change. That's the shift, and now I want to show you what that looks like in action. This is Briargate Elementary Rebuild. A real project, real people, using real tools. It's a new school for a growing district just outside Houston. The owner in this project was the Fort Bend Independent School District, and the architect was Kirksey. It's a school for about 1,000 students, a one-story section for multi-use educational rooms, early education and assembly spaces, and also a two-story admin and elementary school wing. The structure is actually separated by a wall to create two separate structures that function as one building, totaling 129,000 square feet. So I want you to imagine this happened. A little girl is walking past the finished school. She looks up and says, I'm going to build one of these one day. But in order to build this type of inspiration, we need a strong team behind the project. And I want to take a moment to introduce this wonderful team. Operations and VDC working side by side, not in silos, but in sync. On the operations side, we have Esmeralda, our quality manager. She brings a sharp eye and a deep commitment to doing things right the first time. Artemio, our superintendent, was a heartbeat of the field, and Antonio, the project engineer, was the connector. Then there's the VDC team. Eloisa served as the VDC lead. She made sure everyone had what they needed before they needed it. Jesse helped bring the project to life visually, handling everything from walkthroughs to renderings, and I had the privilege of supporting the reality capture. I mentioned earlier that 72% of projects don't finish on time. This wasn't one of them. At Briargate, we weren't just hitting deadlines, we were overlapping them. Design, build, and coordinate happened at the same time. Here's a quick snapshot of our construction timeline, but I want to highlight something deeper than dates. Traditionally, construction milestones are seen as a linear checklist. Get the permit, pour the slab, hit dry-in, top out, finish the job. But we're seeing more and more, especially in projects like Briargate, is a shift to simultaneous workflows. Design, coordination, and construction happening in parallel. And that opens up powerful moments to bring in technology at just the right time. Take August 19th, for example. We performed a laser scan of Area E. That gave us a precise 3D record of what was built and allowed our design team to catch and resolve issues before they became rework. Then in October, right before dry-in, we brought the owner inside the building through a virtual walkthrough of the model. This wasn't just flashy tech. It gave them the chance to ask questions, validate details, and build trust in the process. Because when owners, architects, and builders stay aligned during the journey, not just at the end, it leads to better decisions, fewer surprises, and stronger relationships. And maybe, most importantly, it gives our teams confidence along the way, not just celebrating it at the finish line. To bring this project to life, we relied on a combination of tools that kept our coordination fast, collaborative, and trackable. We used Autodesk Construction Cloud to organize every model, every trade, every version in a central file structure. No more hunting down for the latest file or chasing updates in email threads. Then we use Navisworks to manage coordination. This is where we clash models, track issues, and assign them out. Essentially the war room where all the puzzle pieces come together. And finally, by tracking those coordinations directly in ACC, we're able to create a cloud-based feedback loop. That meant that the architect, the engineer, and the subcontractor could all see the same issue with context at the same time, and they could resolve it in real time without waiting for the next meeting. These tools didn't just support VDC, they made it visible, made it manageable, and made it a shared responsibility, not just a siloed role. Here is coordination in action. Mark Medina, a VDC engineer, flying through the model, sketching ideas, guiding trades, solving problems live. This is what it looks like when coordination is a conversation and not a chore. This is, so we're not putting up paper anymore. There's no more waiting for emails. Every trade is in that meeting. Everyone sees the issue, the context, the fix, all at the same time. And the best part, with one click, everything that we just talked about is turned into a tracked issue with an assigned owner, a deadline, and a snapshot of the model view. This is how we turn a messy process into momentum. We don't just coordinate, we build trust in real time. And what you can see here, Mark is trying to navigate a tight ceiling space. He would have had a lot more help if we were able to laser scan this ahead of time so that we were able to give the point cloud to the model, to the architect. They could drop the ceiling a little bit lower instead of having to navigate tight spaces like this. "90 models managed, 1,234 coordination issues, 133,000 square feet coordinated in 146 days. If we break that down, we're clashing through nearly 1,000 square feet per day. And when it came time to build, we continued that pace. We tracked 77 field issues, but here's a number I'm most proud of. 94% of those issues were solved virtually before they became a problem in the field. We also had 412 drone photos. They're not just pretty pictures. This is consistent visual intelligence. Why? Because the goal isn't just documentation, it's consistency. And with consistency comes predictability. And with predictability, we open the door to automation, to smarter forecasting, to proactive project management. This is how we move from guessing to knowing, from managing chaos to managing outcomes. Here's one of my favorite moments in the process, where the puzzle pieces all came together. This is the steel model, the architectural model, and the point cloud all in one. This isn't a render, it's reality with context. By aligning these elements, we're not just visualizing the space, we're validating it. We can walk the job virtually and know if we're off before it costs us days or dollars in the field. This is where collaboration can become clarity. When we see the same thing, we solve the same problem together. The purpose of this laser scan was to validate structure the way it was installed. We were able to verify and prove that every third joist was actually installed invertedly, and that caused problems during coordination because we had to navigate the duct around gaps that were not there. Here's an exciting day on the project, when we brought the building to life before it was built. Jesse came to the job site and set up a VR experience right in the trailer. We had the owners walk through the cafeteria, through the classrooms, even go through a mechanical room, all in full scale. What you're seeing here is not tech for tech's sake. It's about engagement, about confidence, about giving owners and stakeholders something more than just 2D plans or even renderings. It's about helping them feel it. Here is what we call the RO ride. Not just delivering a building, but delivering an experience. You don't have to take it from me. Listen to the field team. It was hard to stay ahead. We're using every tool we can. We're trying to find issues earlier. Whether it's trying to stay ahead of changes, relying on manual tools, or struggling to make use of expensive tech, our people are trying. They care. But they need systems that actually support them. And that's what this is all about, giving our teams the visibility, the speed, and the support without burning out. When we talk about technology in construction, we're not just chasing innovation for the sake of it. We're chasing clarity, consistency, and confidence so that the people can build our world better. Everything we talked about ladders up to this: reducing cost, clarifying scope, sticking to schedule, and staying safe. Cost, scope, schedule, safety. These are the 4 pillars every successful project balances. They're not new, but how we protect them is changing. Reality capture, model coordination, virtual walkthroughs, they're strategic shields against rework, delays, and confusion. We reduce costs by catching issues before they hit the job site. We protect scope by visually aligning on design intent. We stay on schedule, real-time collaboration, and proactive coordination. And we improve safety by simulating conditions before anyone steps on site. At RO, we pride ourselves in safety starts with me. That means that having the capacity for the presence for capacity for accidents to occur. So here's my challenge for everyone. Pick one of these pillars, just one, and ask yourself, what is one process that I can digitize or clarify on my next project to strengthen it? Because the future of construction isn't just about building better buildings, it's about better building. And that starts with us. Let's zoom out for a moment and talk about what the future will look like. This is a snapshot from MIT's Senseable City Lab. I heard a talk that I'll never forget. It said that the real-time city is real. Let's think about that. As sensors, cameras, and AI blanket urban space, our cities aren't static anymore. They're alive, they're responsive, they're storytellers. And for those of us in construction, it's not just about what we build, it's about how we capture what's happening and tell a story with that data. As architects, engineers, and builders, we've always worked with layers. Layers of form, layers of structure, layers of systems. But what this team shows us is how our cities are now layered with data. Not just numbers and spreadsheets, but living, breathing information. Collected passively from what people do, where they move, what they touch, and how they connect. Take a look at these projects. These are live stories being told by fiber optic cables, sensing vibration, smartphones, scanning sidewalks, algorithms tracking garbage routes or energy flows. They're turning data into texture, into insight, into design. And that's what excites me. Because if we can visualize real-time city life, if we can design with data as a material, then we can build smarter, more responsive places. We can make decisions that reflect how people actually move through a space, what they really need, and we can do it in a way that's beautiful. This is where I want to connect with you, the imaginative minds in the room. Because if data is our new raw material, then you are the ones who can turn it into something meaningful. So we've talked about the problems, we've shown you the tools, and we walked through the process. And now let's bring you in. Because here's the truth. Architecture isn't just about math or models. It's about those visceral, emotional connections we feel in the spaces that we occupy. So my ask is this: who's feeling brave I'd love to invite someone to come up and throw on this headset that I have behind me and walk through the school of the future.